Viofo A329s and the Viofo A229 Pro. What is the difference between these two units? Upon looking at them right from the front, you can see none of the buttons are actually different. Both of them have the Wi-Fi button, microphone button, emergency record button, recording on and off button, and the picture/power button. So these are exactly the same. Now, if we turn it over on its side, you can see that now the 329S has the rear camera port here, micro SD card slot, and the optional interior camera input. On the 229 Pro, we have the micro SD card and the interior camera port right here on this side. If we turn it over on the other side here, we can see the 329S. This is your SSD port input, while on the 229 Pro, this is the rear camera input. So you might be wondering where the power input is. And on both of these units, this is the actual GPS antenna. And on the GPS antenna, they just slide in and it is exactly the same. And your power cord gets plugged in right on the top. And that is how the 229 Pro and the 329S are 100% alike. This is where your Viofo HK4 hardwire cable would plug in, or if you're using the cigarette lighter cable adapter, you would also plug it in on that top, which is also doubles as the GPS antenna. If we turn it over like this, you can see there's no difference between the two units, and both of them adjust in that. So let's get in. What is the difference between these two units? Both of them are using the 4K Sony Starvis 2 IMX678 image sensor. But is there any major differences between that? Well, let's dive into the differences between the actual cameras that you can add on to the A329S and the Viofo A229 Pro. So the Viofo A329S is available in multiple different configurations. And the most common is going to be a normal standard rear camera. And if for some weird reason you need it to be mounted on the exterior, there's also an exterior camera option, which will allow you to mount it externally. Now, common for Uber drivers is going to be the fisheye interior camera. And if you're looking to zoom in on license plates, you can also get the telephoto camera. Keep in mind, you cannot pair the telephoto and IR interior fisheye camera together. There is no configuration that I know of currently where you can have both of these cameras working in coordinated side by side. You need to either have a telephoto and rear, a rear and interior. Those are the most common options. Now, when we take a look at the plugins, all three of these, as you can see, are using the coax cable, which is quite small and very easy to run in the interior of a vehicle. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying this video. If you do have any questions or comments, please leave them down below and don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, quite simple, the A229 Pro has the option of an interior IR camera, very popular for Uber drivers, and or the rear camera, which is probably the most popular setup we do, is front and rear setup. Both of them offer USB-C inputs, and that is the standard cable. Now, when looking at the USB-C cable, it is a lot thicker than the cable that is optional for the A329S, so it can make it a little bit harder to run it through on certain vehicles. Now, for us, we're pretty experienced. We don't really have these issues, but some people that do install this will find it harder just due to the thickness of the cable. Now, the interior camera is a little bit different as it plugs in up front, and it looks more like a little headphone jack, but it is a standard USB-C end. Okay, so we have the Viofo A329S and the Viofo A229 Pro, and let's dive into the menu and see what the main differences are between these two units. So we start by hitting the record button, and if you hit the photo button or the power button, you can now go into the settings menu, and we go into video settings and we can go into resolution. As you can see, both of them are only 4K 30 FPS. Now we're just going to go back and I'm going to go into HDR. And if I turn HDR off and we'll go and turn HDR off on this one too, just so that it's a fair comparison. We're going to go up to resolution. So now when we go up to resolution, you can actually change it to 4K 60 FPS on the Viofo A329s, and it's 4K 30 FPS on the Viofo A229 Pro. Now, just so you know, the 4K 60 FPS will only work if HDR is turned off. It will also only work if you're using 2-channel mode or 1-channel mode. If you're using it in 3-channel mode, the Viofo A329s will not support 60 FPS. So we're going to go back here. I'm going to turn HDR on again. And we'll go back here. Whoops. Yeah, we're still there. We're good. We're good. I'm going to go and turn on HDR again. Just for that. So we're in video settings. And as you scroll down, there's video bitrate, which you can go all the way up to maximum. Both units will support that. Loop recording. Loop recording, which a lot of people may forget or not understand, is this is how long the videos will loop. So if you have, let's say, a 128 gig card in either one of these two units, on average, you're going to get somewhere around 4.5 hours of record time on a front and rear combo, depending on, bit rate and whether you have it in 60 FPS, etc. However, this is how long the actual videos are, and you get the option of 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, or 10 minute, depending on the unit. Most of our clients like the 3 minute option, and that's typically what we set it for. Now, as we continue scrolling down, this is the record audio feature. And the record audio feature is whether or not you want the microphone to record like your music that you're listening to, you talking on the phone, those types of things. Now, keep in mind, there is the microphone button. So if you are having a private conversation, you can easily turn the microphone off if you are worried about those recordings somehow getting out there. As we continue scrolling down, there is exposure value. I never play with this. If you are really techie and you do want to play with this, you're more than welcome to. That is the setting right there. And we'll keep scrolling down, and this is your G sensor. G sensor is for while driving. There is a separate G sensor for parking mode as well, but this is the current G sensor. We usually recommend medium. We find high is a little too sensitive, but medium sensitivity is what I would set it for. And then there is stamp. So stamp, you can actually select whether you want the date, GPS info, coordinates, or custom stamp, license plate stamp, the Viofo logo, brand model, resolution, and stamp text color. So you have all these different options that you can actually change on this depending on what you want to show on the screen. Oh, wait, just scroll down here. Okay, now we get into time-lapse recording. People get a little confused with this. This is not time-lapse for parking mode. This is only time-lapse for while driving. So if you're on a scenic drive and maybe you want to record your whole drive at 1 frame per second, and I don't know, maybe you have a 3-hour drive, and you want to turn that into a very short period of time, like I can't even remember what that would be, like 10 minutes or something like that, you can change the time-lapse recording to the 1, 2, 3, 5, or 10 frames per second. Now, keep in mind, it's not going to record any audio. And if you get into an accident during this time, it's going to record in that low frame per second, which means you may lose some critical data. And now I'm going to go to parking recording, and parking recording is completely different. I'm just going to skip over this because this is where a huge change happens between the A329s and the Viofo A229 Pro. So now it turns into vehicle battery protection, and you have to select your cutoff time or your cutoff voltage. Now your cutoff time would be how long it's going to record in parking mode. Keep in mind, you really don't want this lasting for a long period of time depending on the parking mode that you're using. Now, this you have to go to parking recording timer. So on the A229 Pro, you have to go to the parking record timer, and then you can select, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, 24, 48 hours, depending on what you want. Keep in mind, if you have it on off, it'll record forever until the low battery protection kicks in. Now, you obviously need to select your parking mode, which only gives the option of time lapse 1 frame per second, 1, 2, 3, 5, or 10 frames per second, and low bitrate recording and auto event detection. Now, you do need to select cutoff time or cutoff voltage on the A329s, and maybe this is getting a little confusing because the A329s, they've really juggled and changed things up. With this cutoff voltage, which you're probably wondering, how is he able to turn that on? Because you're not supposed to be able to do that. And that's because I'm actually playing and using the Viofo HK6 new cable. The new Viofo HK6 is the only one on the A329s that's going to allow you to change the cutoff voltage. Now, keep in mind, we are testing this right now. We are not currently, this is not currently available for sale. It will probably be a couple weeks from now or a month from now when it becomes available for public sale. But basically the way it works in cutoff voltage is if I set it for 12.2 volts, as you can see here, if it drops below the 12.2 volts, it will then change over to the low power impact detection. That way you're not completely consuming your car battery, and it will last about 10 times longer in this mode. Now, as I go back in the parking mode, you can see, like we showed you on the A229 Pro, we only have time lapse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 frames per second. The parking mode is way different on the actual A329s. And if you want to fully understand it, I think we have a video where I discuss hybrid parking mode in full in-depth detail, and I'm just going to leave it right here linked. That way you can go and learn about it, because trying to explain it all in this video may take some time. But there is also the low power impact detection, which, as you can see, the A229 Pro doesn't have that, as well as the hybrid parking mode. And as we keep scrolling, as you can see, everything is the same other than the hybrid and the low power impact detection. So there's some very big perks that you're gaining going to the new A329s. So the parking G sensor, you can also change it. I usually recommend high. Now, I will tell you, on the new A329s, they did make some improvements to the G sensor, but we have not fully tested it. I've had it in my vehicle, but I haven't verified if it's as sensitive as the original A329s pre-production that we were testing, or whether it's less sensitive. So we will hopefully have a video about that soon, but currently right now, we do not. So as we keep scrolling down, you can see there's parking motion detection, a parking GPS, parking HDR, and then the different thing on the A329s is the parking files storage. Now, it's prioritizing micro SD card. And the reason why it's doing that is because I've selected low power impact detection. Now, if you're going to select low power impact detection and you want it to have a quick wake up, which we've tested on the original pre-production at under 2 seconds, it needs to be on the micro SD card. If you are using an SSD, it's going to take too long to boot, and it's not going to be as efficient as it currently is in the current setup. So if I go in here and let's say I change it to time lapse and go to parking file storage, it still is only giving me micro SD card, but that's probably because I don't have an SSD hooked up to it currently right now, because then it would actually allow me to have some different options. But keep that in mind. It is going to prioritize SD card in some of these new parking modes, because it wants to make sure that it has that quick wake up in the parking mode for the impact detection. This one has the telephoto camera software currently on it, which is why it's not showing the interior camera setting. But as you can see here, if I go to the interior camera on the A229 Pro, you can have it on, only on while driving, only on while parking. So you have a couple different options. The IR LEDs you can have on auto, so when it gets dark out, it'll automatically brighten up the images while you're driving around, turn it more to that white black. If you have it off, then that means at night it won't work. It's just going to record like a normal 1080p camera. And then on means the IR LEDs are on day and night. So just keep that in mind. We usually recommend auto. But yeah, there's lots of different settings that you can do. There's also the multiplex video. So this is also very new and exciting, and they don't have this. And I have a whole video talking about multiplex video, which you can't change because I don't have a rear camera plugged into it right now. But if I did, you can actually go in here and merge the video files of all the different things, all the different, like the front, you can have front rear together as one video file, front rear interior. If you want to learn more about that, I have a video right here that I would recommend watching to learn more about the multiplex video. And of course, most of the stuff is pretty standard between the 2 units after that. But let's just see here. And yeah, not much different other than voice control, voice commands, voice control on or off. But yeah, not much. That's the major differences. That is the major differences between the Viofo A329s and the Viofo A229 Pro. I hope you enjoyed our video comparing the Viofo A329s to the Viofo A229 Pro. If you are looking to support us in any way, check us out, safedrivesolutions.com, where we offer on-site installation in Greater Vancouver and Greater Toronto area. We also sell dash cameras through our website, safedrivesolutions.com. Thanks again.